Welcome to the very first episode of It Came from the Grove. I'm Wistmore, the Archdruid of this grove within the Wild Dream, and joining me is Wisteria.
Hi. Hello.
Who knows the long-forgotten mysteries of plants. So it's the same forest, just a new title. Hope it all works out. Today, and wow, how about I start over? How are you guys doing out there?
I'm doing good.
How's your Saturday? Today we're gonna uncover Mothman and his many forms. We're gonna ask
many forms, baby Mothman.
Many. What is he? What relations does he have to other similar aerial phenomena? Did he exist before exploding into pop culture in 1960s America? All that and more. Maybe even some insights from our chat. Those are nice, unexpected little nuggets. And we've been doing like strange news segments on Twitch for over a year now. Can you believe that?
Yeah. Hello, Yonak, our favorite upcoming VTuber.
Yeah, our Leshy friend, Yonak Dreven, welcome. Glad to have you. And we've been doing strange news here on YouTube for a little over 6 months now. And today we're going to kind of chase more of a podcast style and hoping to have landed on just the right name for this podcast, this show. And this is what it's evolved into. And you're here to witness the very first episode of It Came from the Grove.
Can I just say that this title is so versatile and you can just put it next to anything and it can either be funny or problematic?
Yep.
Just imagine it next to some, I don't know, unfortunate design creatures like the shaved lamb, and it's just like, it came from the grove, that's it.
Yeah, even thematically it's very versatile because it can be horror, it can be paranormal, it can be weird art. So how are you doing?
And even we from the grove.
There, Yonak. History in the making, yes. What were you saying?
I forgot. Oh yeah, even we came from the grove.
Yeah. So we are starting with Mothman today. That's a picture of Mothman. Like this is not Photoshop. This is a photograph from 1967 over Silver Bridge before it collapsed. It was a calamity. There were people on the bridge when it collapsed. But we'll get into that. And there were earlier sightings before this photo here. Wow. Is
What?
is Mothman zooming past your window?
No, I clicked the wrong button. Sorry.
Okay. We're getting a buzz.
I know.
And let me switch articles here. Oh, it is the same article. I don't need to switch it all. So the year was 1966. Two grave diggers in Clinton, West Virginia, saw a black figure fly over their heads while digging a grave in a cemetery. So you don't really hear much about this encounter. They didn't know it then, but they are credited with being the first people to see the famous Mothman. And we will see if they are actually the first witnesses to Mothman. Does it go back before 1966? We'll see. We'll see. We're going to do some exploration today. And we've even got more recent Mothman sightings, some from 2017, some from 2010, and they're not all in West Virginia. So for those that are unfamiliar, we'll do a quick recap. According to legend, Mothman is a black 10-foot creature with wings and red eyes. Shortly after that cemetery incident, residents of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, very close to Clinton, claim to have seen the monster driving while at night. And there become like a rash of sightings around this time. And Mothman is doing everything from lurking outside of homes, chasing cars, and even stealing dogs, pet dogs.
Only dogs.
Yeah, only one dog too. And we don't even know if it was a dog napping.
Dog napping.
So here's the story behind the dog napping.
I just want to say really quick that if I was a cryptid, I would not be kidnapping dogs. I would be kidnapping gerbils. Personal preference.
Okay, you're allowed your personal preferences. So this is the story of Bandit, the German Shepherd. And this is over in Salem, West Virginia. It's the same day that the couple driving down the road encountered Mothman. Just earlier in the day. And in this account, the German Shepherd named Bandit bolted into the woods after seeing two glowing red circles. The owner says he looked for Bandit but found nothing but paw prints going in circles and then vanishing. That's pretty creepy, huh? That is just rude. Stealing somebody's dog like that.
You know, it's like those videos of hawks or vultures that come sweeping them and kidnap your kid.
Oh yeah, true. Maybe it was just a rock, ROC rock. Thunderbird. Because we do have those sightings too here in the States.
Yeah.
And who knows, the Thunderbird might have red eyes. So was it a real Mothman encounter? We don't know. But it's just the proximity and the similar time is why it's grouped in with Mothman. Because we don't actually have a sighting other than red eyes. And the first encounter where we really get a description of it is the most often retold one, the one where the couple's driving down State Route 62 near the abandoned National Guard Armory building and power plant when this couple saw a menacing figure standing 6 to 7 feet tall. He's a big boy. In the headlights, giant eyes shone bright red, and they panicked. There's this common dread that comes along with all of these sightings. Roger, the car's driver, sped away toward town, but the creature followed. According to the first eyewitness accounts, the thing rose up like a helicopter. It easily kept pace even as the car reached 100 miles per hour. So that's more than just gliding. That's really zooming. And
Milan, hello.
we got a Melantrist.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. We got, yeah. So I guess I've got a bit of a delay. I'm glad you're on chat. So like this whole idea of Mothman rising like a helicopter, I think is what really sets him apart from all these other aerial encounters. Because like a bat doesn't hover. Birds don't really have that kind of hovering thing, but you can have that with like a butterfly, a moth, a hummingbird, but there's no hummingbird man. I don't think there have been real sightings of its like detailed sightings of its wings or pictures, and there's lots of different descriptions of Mothman in these sightings. So we've got, it's usually 6 to 10 feet tall with over a 10-foot wingspan. It's been compared to a big owl, a pterosaur, which is like pterodactyl, and a bat. It doesn't always have red, it's also had green, yellow, and orange eyes being reported. Helicopter man.
No, this is a this is Eastern European meme.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, helicopter. It's like a part of a song or something like that. It's said in an interesting way, having Turkish music in the background. This is what you're referring to. I think this is Street Thunders. Hi. It sounds like Street Thunders. It acts like Street Thunders. It must be Street Thunders.
Well, yeah, we know the secret of Melantrist.
I just want to say, I remembered. I think it's a Bosnian song. There we go. Eastern European memes never ceases to amaze us. So I have a little strange encounter that I just remembered. It came to me like a lost thought. So I saw those birds that just fly on the same spot and they don't advance in the air and they are just like caught,
Yeah.
hovering. No, but I saw it in real life the other day. I was taking a shower and in my bathroom I have this tiny window thingy that is open so that too much steam won't fill the bathroom. And in the distance, like way in the distance, there's a new block of buildings being built, and there are like two cranes there. And I thought that the bird got caught somehow in like a line that is from a crane or something, but it was at a considerable distance from the crane. So therefore, I don't know what was keeping it in the air, but it felt surreal. It was flying and flying with all its power, but it was stuck in one place. And it felt like a glitch, and I didn't know what was happening.
So I think you've got like a small piece of what people experiencing Mothman felt like. You got the mini Mothman dread,
Yeah.
maybe. But yeah, I'm glad we've got Melantrist here with throwing out Eastern European memes, because that's part of the show too. Wild internet culture, the folklore, the weird history, all coming together around the topic of the day. It's beautiful stuff, and that's why I love our audience.
Yeah, those little Eastern European memes are part of our podcast section of Let's Entertain Wisteria. Hi.
Yeah, and we've got Pazuzu in here from a recommendation from Melantrist from last week as well. So I have video footage here This is just from a few years ago. I'll have to get some more details after we watch this.
Jesus Christ? Please.
So this is from an Inside Edition, which is a sort of an American news tabloid show. Been around for decades.
Please, our Father God.
So we have this hovering figure in the sky. Very old video, because you don't get noise like this on digital anymore.
Mom, es un hombre. Es un hombre.
Jesus, is that you?
So this is just over the treetops. Some
Pablo Morales
hovering
was outside
dark
his house in
figure.
Burbank, California, when he saw
I missed where in California? Right. Back further.
Pablo Morales was outside his house in Burbank, California,
Burbank.
when he saw something strange in the sky. The unidentified floating object looks like a person descending from the clouds.
You know, there are those new hover packs, hover kits that people can use now. They get them pretty far off the ground. So I wonder if that has led to more Mothman type sightings. Because if it's from enough of a distance, you won't really be able to see their hover kit on their arms and legs.
Is that Jesus Christ?
In the video, Pablo
Why?
heard
Who
telling his
comes to this
family-
conclusion? You see something in the sky now. Is that Jesus?
I'm sure he's very religious, very Catholic, and that's, if anything's going to be hovering, it would be, a miracle within his context. So maybe he thinks this is the second coming of Christ and not a Mothman sighting. Yannick says they do make a lot of noise from what I've seen and are bulky. True. But this does look like it's pretty far away, so maybe not even the sound would carry over.
Yeah, it's really a film with a potato, so not a lot of it carries over.
We got a hovering
The second coming of Jesus.
black figure.
Telling his mother in Spanish, it looks like a man.
Mom, es un hombre. Es un hombre.
Pablo and his family watch as the object keeps descending closer and closer to their roof. As it sinks
Well, at least it isn't a insect fairy sighting.
True.
behind the house, Pablo asks the group if they think it is balloons.
You don't think that's balloons?
That guy's face descended real quick from
Looks like
Jesus to
it's coming.
balloons.
When he went to investigate, he says there were no balloons. He also says that because the family lives near an airport, drones aren't allowed.
Mom, es un hombre.
Well, they're not allowed, so that means that they're not up there.
It descends into the chimney like Santa.
Wow. Mothman Santa.
Pablo isn't the first person to see what they believe to be a supernatural figure in the sky, of course. A man in Hoboken, New Jersey, captured this image in the clouds above the World Trade Center. On that
What?
night, two powerful beams of light were shining as a memorial to the victims of the September 11th terrorist attacks. A man snapped this photo of the memorial, but when he got home, he saw
Can we make that go away?
what looked like a human figure. And although it's not clear what
Well,
caused
that is
either of
definitely
these
just a
objects
cloud.
to appear, they have definitely inspired the people who have seen them. This is
Alright, there we go. So let me see when this was published. It's 4 years ago. Directly from Inside Editions. That's a 4-year-old newscast. Let's see what we else have up here. We do have some written encounters today. There was a movie in 2002 called The Mothman Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, here's the poster.
Whoa. Why does it look like it's made in Midjourney?
Long before Midjourney. Nine 1820. Do I have my dates wrong? Oh well. But this is a an interview with one of the creators of the Mothman Legacy. I haven't seen it. Maybe I'll check it out sometime.
Do you want to?
Yeah. See if it's
Can we watch it together?
sure. Nice, another monster movie to enjoy together.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I brought this interview is because the creator talks a little bit about the mythologies that tie in to Mothman. So here we go. The interviewer asks, I was having a conversation with someone about... Oh, no, okay, this is the creator. I was having a conversation with somebody about the Mothman story, and they pointed out some similarities between Mothman and other winged creatures throughout mythology. They made an interesting connection between Mothman and banshees from an Irish and Scottish folklore that involves this creature that heralds some sort of oncoming death or disaster that typically has glowing red eyes. So the relation isn't really the appearance. I mean, it could be. It would be possibly a floating, creepy figure. Don't usually have wings. And in some of the footage, they usually have wings. Not in the footage we just saw, but in some of them. The first one, it does look like it had wings that we had at the beginning of the show. But so more, the thing that ties them together is being a herald of disaster. And that first image we saw of Mothman flying over the bridge, in John Keel's book, The Mothman Legacy, which this movie was made from his book, John Keel's book, he goes a lot into the paranormal occurrences around Mothman. There's a lot of UFO sightings in the area around the time. And whenever Mothman shows up, he posits that a disaster happens shortly afterwards. And also the people that witness Mothman have this sense of dread. So,
And what kind of disasters?
well, the main one was the bridge just collapsing during a busy, like, afternoon drive.
Do you consider disaster the kidnapping of the dog too?
Well, that wouldn't be an impending disaster if he literally just dog-napped the dog.
But it would be a disaster if it's up in the air with the dog and the dog is waiting to be dropped.
Yeah, that would be. So yeah, the banshees usually aren't dangerous themselves. They appear before something bad happens, like a family member dies or warning you of somebody's death. And I think that's also something that kind of differentiates Mothman from other aerial phenomena or even winged creatures. Like you've got the vampires that are associated with the bat wings and everything. And they actually do the acts of evil and are associated with like attacks. Other than the missing dog, Mothman hasn't really been a menace himself.
So Mothman is just a messenger.
Yeah, he's kind of like an ill omen to be seen. All right, so the people that live in Appalachia are Scotch Irish immigrants. So it is interesting that they have this association with a banshee-like creature from their own folklore, the mother countries, that they've kind of put on a new framework, becoming Mothman. And the interviewer asks, "What did you learn when you started digging into that?" And this guy is, "I think we learned that there's a history of these similar creatures, not just Irish and Scottish, but kind of all around the world. I mean, in Hindu mythology, there's Garuda, and we'll look at Garuda, which is a winged creature that would precede or portend disaster. And interesting enough, John Keel, who wrote the Mothman prophecies, was originally going to title the book The Year of the Garuda." So let's look a little bit more. Who is this Garuda figure? And this also does tie into the Pazuzu, who we will get to just after we look at Garuda here.
He looks like a Japanese Oni. Are they Oni?
Yeah, or Oni yokai, anything like that. And Garuda is a figure anywhere from the Middle East to the Far East. Because he's in Hinduism, he's in Buddhism. I don't know if it's in ancient European mythology. Let's see.
Not really. Oh, I like the name of the site.
Allocation. So normally it's this Garuda creature is half man, half bird. Sometimes it can have a bird head. It doesn't always have to.
Isn't it like a harpy?
Harpy would be similar, but harpies are always female. Some depictions say that his wings are miles long, so he'd be a giant creature large enough to block out the sun. Oh, even in Hinduism, he was a mount to Lord Vishnu, so Vishnu rode Garuda across the skies.
I feel like every time we come up with another cryptid or something and we look into its lore, we always end up back to Vishnu. Last stream, it was something, that's a statue that had a lion head.
Yep.
That was representing Vishnu, so Vishnu is our boy.
Yeah. Well, things do often go back to Vedic traditions because they are so ancient and have really been the basis of many cultures from Europe to the Far East.
Yeah, but I was pointing out that it's creepy that we still go back to the same guy.
Yeah.
Like, how many things has he done?
And maybe there'll be more in future episodes. And sometimes he was seen as a protector in both Hinduism and Buddhism.
What's a Naga?
The Naga is the snake people that we talked about on our reptilian stream.
Oh.
So they normally have snake bodies rather than lizard bodies.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, up on our reptilian episode.
Quick, everyone. Grab a pen because we're going to give you a quiz about last episodes.
Well, it is neat how things tie together, too. Because
Yeah.
we had Lord Vishnu from the last episode, and then we have the Nagas from the episode before that.
Did you plan it?
No. But a lot of these paranormal things you'll find all kinds of threads, intertwining threads. And that's part of the fun. It's just tugging on those threads.
So they're from the same cinematic universe.
Yeah, our cinematic universe of reality. So, Pazuzu is an ancient Mesopotamian demon, also a deity. He brought with him destruction, famine, and disease. So he's definitely an ill omen, if not the actual illness itself. I want to see some pictures of Pazuzu. Here we go. Does this look like a Mothman?
A bit.
Yeah, he's kind of... These antlers could be antennae.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely looks like he would have red eyes.
Yeah, and the wings.
Yeah, he's got those wings.
Oh, you should tell us, because you were tormented by some moths the other day.
The moths that kept me from sleep?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pair of them. One of them was bested and flushed down the toilet. The other got away.
Did it look anyway like this?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah. You definitely had the red eyes.
So you looked into its eyes before you flushed him down the toilet?
Yeah. I had given him a lot of chances. This wasn't our first encounter, and I have brushed him off in nights past, even though he woke me up from a solid slumber and got my heart racing. I let him stay. But then once a second appeared, that was when my patience had ended. And
you chose violence.
And I needed to end them because I needed my sleep. And I did not need them multiplying. So we also have Owlman. What were you going to say?
Nothing.
Owlman appears in the 1970s in Cornwall, UK, Great Britain. And we got a video for this one. Whoops, I'm straight over here. Bring it over here.
So you covered the Owlman, but what I filmed as videos, TikToks, we're covering an owl woman, so maybe there's a couple.
Oh. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Two young sisters walk down a quiet, overgrown lane, talking and laughing to one another, enjoying their holiday in the countryside. The sky is red and darkening as the summer sun begins to set. Suddenly, the birds stop singing, and an eerie quiet falls over the woods. One of them gasps in horror as they look up to the tower of the old weathered church that stands before them. There, hovering with terribly long wings outstretched, is neither man nor bird, but a grotesque hybrid of the two.
This is a very breathy retelling.
Staring at them with glowing red eyes and a huge, gaping black mouth.
Wow, so we got those red eyes again. I guess there are probably a lot of monsters and cryptids with red eyes.
I think you can't qualify as a cryptid if you don't have that. That's the cryptid starter pack.
Yeah, only Bigfoot can get away with not having the starter pack.
Did you look into his eyes?
I haven't, but we do have flying Bigfoot today, and I really don't think anybody has heard of flying Bigfoot, but we have the flying Bigfoot story,
He's going places, I'm telling you.
and we'll see if he has red eyes or not.
Their screams pierce the silence as the being flaps its great wings. The two turn and sprint with all their might back down towards the town. Sobbing and out of breath, they reach their parents, and whilst the shaking girls are clasped tightly in their mother and father's arms, the hoot of an owl rings out in the distance. The story of the Owlman of Morno first came to public attention when Tony Shields, an artist, magician, and writer, said that he had spoken to these two young sisters. June and Vicky Melling had encountered the Owlman in Morno on the evening of April 17th, 1976.
Yeah, so when she's saying Monin, it's Mawnan, so I think that's a place and not a time. It's not morning, it's Monin.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is that southern?
It does sound very southern, but this is southern England.
It all needs to start somewhere.
As the
am I
story
right?
goes, the two girls were on holiday there, and they went for a walk to the church that lies out of the way on an old remote road. The church sits on the coast and is surrounded by woods, a ways out of the village. It was there that they saw the terrible creature staring at them and hovering over the church tower.
So it's hovering. Even though this is Owlman, he's hovering. That is an interesting bit.
When they ran back to their parents in the village, they were terrified, describing that they had seen a feathered birdman, one even describing the creature as an owlman or birdman. The girls were so scared by this experience that their father decided to cut their holiday short, and they soon returned home as the girls were traumatized by the incident.
Save it right there on that owl coming to grab you. So,
Yeah.
do you think these sightings are more from like a bias of what creatures they normally have around them? So, like in England, you do have a bunch of owls. You don't really have bats. And are they saying this is an owlman just because that's kind of like the creature they're familiar with in that area? What's your thoughts? What is our chat's thoughts on that?
Oh, I can tell you one thing, that if you're referring to, like, if you live in a place that doesn't have any bats but has owls, you're more inclined to say that it's an owl.
Right.
When I was little and we were visiting my mom's uncle, I think, yeah, they were in like the Romanian border, Hungarian countryside, and they lived right next to a field and a bit of forest, so it was surrounded by a lot of wildlife. You would just not see it during the day. And there was this window of the living room facing a bit of the, like, some trees in this corner where it was not fenced. It was basically towards the wilderness. And the whole living room was huge, so it was like separated somehow. And that's where my brother and dad slept. And they said they woken up to like a presence, like being watched. And he said that there was this huge shadow in the window, but shadows, I mean, like almost covering the entire window. And after quite a while, they realized it was an owl staring inside, but it was so huge, and we are used to owls, not to see them on a daily basis, but we know how they look. We know that they are around somewhere if you're in the countryside. But they were terrified of the creature, and when it started to do its thing and its noises, it was even more terrifying to have it like so close to you, you wouldn't even realize what it is. So even if you know that in your area you have either owls or bats or stuff like that, you're just paralyzed and your mind processes things the way it does, but you just underestimate their size and their strength and just their presence in general and your ability to react in a cool way.
Yeah, and especially with nighttime encounters, your brain is filling in a lot of gaps. So
Yeah.
I also rewinded this video so you could kind of see the owl. Uh, Straight on, the owl has kind of like a flat face. But if you see any creature like this from straight on, you don't know like the real shape of the face. It could be a pterosaur because if you look at a pterodactyl straight on, then you've got the eyes and its beak is completely lost in its body.
Yeah.
You don't have any idea of depth of its features. So I think that's one reason why we can have such a wide range of descriptions is because people's minds are more than likely filling in gaps, and these gaps are quite huge. So where you could have a long beaked creature to a little tiny beaked creature, and not really nobody really knows the difference because there isn't much visual information to go off of.
So I think anyone would be pretty scared to encounter an owl, just even if it's not outside, because they tend to not move at all while they are observing you. When they start to move, it's just game over for you. Uh, and by the time you get the chance to notice them, they surely have noticed you a long time ago.
Yeah.
So this is maybe why people feel the dread and feel being watched, because my brother and my dad were sleeping and they woke up from that sleep because they were feeling watched.
Oh
So
wow.
it's nothing, paranormal about it. It's just you have like a prey-like instinct, and somehow you have this instinct to not die.
Yeah, and birds this big could certainly feed on small children. I mean, like they they have taken children, hawks, large birds of prey, uh,
Hmm.
can carry off humans if they're small enough. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is some sort of instinctual um, danger sense that we have around large birds of prey.
Yeah, exactly. And if you just look up um, owl attacks on humans, you will see that if they attack adults, and if the adults tend to be rather, injured after such an attack, I can imagine just what they would do to everything. So we have all the reason to fear them.
Yeah, yeah, and we there's videos out there of like just families at a picnic at a park, and this huge hawk or eagle swoops down and picks up the kid, and like the dad's there to try to beat off the hawk. So it's
Yeah.
not too uncommon. It has been caught on camera several times, and definitely been caught in legend and folklore plenty as well.
This is why it's parenting hack 101. Tie your kids to you.
Get yourself a kid leash.
Or stuff them in your backpack.
Yeah, those papooses are good.
No, like you have a backpack on your back and they sit there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was more than just one Owlman sighting. It says here there's multiple in Cornwall. So that was the story about the two young girls. Other occasions, different girls reported seeing a strange glob of floating light over the old Monon church, which was an orange-red color, Coincidentally, Owlman's eyes are slanted and glow with a bright red. Okay. And it says church towers are common nesting places for barn owls, which non-believers claim led to the legend of Owlman. And Owlman normally does make owl noises.
Did you know that one of our viewers was possessed by an owl?
Really?
Yeah, you're supposed to say who.
I ruined it.
Yeah. We didn't rehearse it before. Maybe next time.
Owlman is a monstrous creature that resembles three beings, a human, an owl, and a bear. Wow, it's an flying owl bear.
Who is the only owl bear looking thing that you know?
Grizz, our owl sloth.
And what are sloths looking like?
Bears. Tree
Exactly.
bears.
Three bears.
And also, you know how we were speaking earlier that there were UFO sightings along with Mothman sightings just around the same time? Same thing is happening here with Owlman in 1976 and 1977. UFO sightings in the region. Even a Cornish sea serpent was sighted around the same time. And sightings of mysterious big cats. We did a big cats episode. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
But this is episode 1. So we're going to have to start some new backstories.
We're gonna have to start all over again. Rewind. So from all the combinations possible, like Owlman, Batman, no, well, you know, and Serpent Guy, and something. What is the most terrifying thing that you can think of?
Well, I just saw this link here that you have for me that says owl witches. That sounds pretty terrifying.
Yeah, this is it. This is the Owl Woman.
Let's see what this is about. Change my format here.
So just think of any situation in which you would have to sell your soul in order to have the body of an owl. I can't think of one either. So what exactly is an owl witch, and what are some of the theories behind them? I'm gonna be making myself into an owl for this. So Robstown, Texas is a very small town in Texas, and whenever people started to report seeing this half bird, half human thing flying around, word traveled fast. And this caused people to, rightfully so, go a little crazy. It would sometimes be reported that it was a...
You know, this is kind of a neat genre that I hadn't really discovered until now.
Mm-hmm.
Cryptid cosplay.
Yeah.
head of a human and the body of an owl, or
Have you
the head was an owl.
discovered cryptid ASMR?
I haven't. Is that like
Okay.
where they do like creepypasta? ASMR
No, it's
voices?
where Mothman tries to get you to sleep
Oh, okay.
and does noises for you and everything. And Bigfoot too.
I see.
Or aliens.
Breathe heavily into your ear as you're paralyzed.
Exactly, but there are alien ASMRs where aliens do weird tests on you while you sleep.
An owl, and there was other human-like features going on with the body. But it seems like people were just not taking it seriously enough until a couple of officers actually saw and made a report on this creature, saying that it was a giant bird with a human face and red glowing eyes. And after that, reportings of this thing just spread all over Texas. But the next reported sighting didn't happen until New Year's Day of 1967. Two girls by the name of Tracy Lawson and Jackie Davies were actually hanging out whenever Jackie saw that there was something flying overhead, and she grabbed her binoculars. And not even another week later, a man by the name of Alvarico Guajardo actually reported an alien-like creature slamming into the side of his trailer. And that it was like a bird, but not a bird. And another week after this,
You know, there have been comparisons of owls to the gray aliens because they've got the big heads and the big eyes and the little bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So that does also tie into UFOs and aliens.
Oh, have you seen? There's this one. I think it's related to an owl, but I'm not sure. It's called ghost bird, and it unhinges its jaw and it opens its mouth to an incredible amount, and it looks super scary.
Yeah, but it's a little tiny bird, so it isn't really that menacing.
Yeah,
But
but just imagine if it won the genetics lottery and it was huge.
it is creepy looking itself, yes, I'll give you that.
A guy by the name of Armando Grimaldi actually went
Anything that can turn itself inside out just by opening its mouth is pretty amazing.
outside to take a smoke break whenever he was dive bombed by the creature. And his injuries were so bad that he actually had to go to Wells County Hospital, and he reported that the thing had a gorilla-like face. And as more reports were made,
What? Is it flying Bigfoot? Gorilla-like face. All right, so where are the witches? What was that sigh?
This is getting scary. It combines the owl with the gorilla, and this is not okay.
It went mainstream. It was on the Johnny Carson show. Some people were spoofing it on TV. And then soon after, this thing weirdly appeared after a call to the police. But Captain Melvin Arnold said that this thing was all just a prank done by teenagers.
Oh.
Which is strange, but then the reports started to stop. But many people think that this is more than just a strange-looking bird. But instead, the Mexican urban legend of La Lechuza. Go to the next part.
Oh, there was another part. There's no link to other part.
Oh, you want me to find the link to the other part?
Sure. Maybe we'll actually get to the owl witches.
I have more videos on the owl witches, so there are other ladies that explain it, but if you really like her, then I can the second part.
Well, okay, let's see what these other ones say. Let's see if we need a part 2 from that one. Alright, so this says, in Mexico, people believe that owls are witches. Okay. Well, he's like grooving up there.
Yeah.
Got a barn owl on a rafter, just grooving to the music of these witches singing, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Got the moves.
Louis. It's in church.
Oh, okay. The church witches. Yeah, really vibing to it.
I aspire to be this vibing to anything.
Just need some good tunes. That is pretty cute too.
Yeah, this is the cleansing for all the scares that we had.
Oh yeah, we got. This was the Alush from before, and people did say that it was probably an owl. So this story gets more.
Chill owl, yeah.
3 Mexican urban legends. La Lechuza. This shape.
La Lechuza. That does sound also like the Alush. But what does it mean?
La Lechuza.
La Lechuza. Oh, it means owl. La Lechuza.
This shape-shifting witch is described.
Whoa, look at these owls. Don't they look like little gray aliens?
Exactly, they are baby owls.
Oh, wow. Cute and creepy.
Described as 7 feet tall and has the body of an owl and the face of a woman. Don't go outside if you hear whistling.
Yes, there's that Alush image. I guess I could see the owl. And that doesn't have to be a hand. It could be just dark bark. But yeah, the wings over here on their back. And then we've got darkened bark that looks like it meets just where a hand and foot would. but definitely an owl-like face.
Then it has a mop on its head.
Yeah. That was definitely one of the most exciting news stories of this year for me.
That was the only exciting story of the year.
outside your window, and chupacabras. It's been described as a vicious dog.
You know, I even had my very normal friends send me that article about the Aloosh back when it happened. Like people that aren't tied into the paranormal at all really enjoyed it as well.
Like or reptile creature with spiky fur, sharp claws, and glowing eyes. It's said to attack livestock, draining them of all their blood. La Llorona,
La Llorona was what? The Wailing Woman. Okay, that would be like a banshee.
La Llorona primarily roams areas near bodies of water. She is described as wearing a white gown and having long black hair. So if you hear
Ay, mis hijos, my children.
it's already too late.
Yeah, so then I guess we do have a little bit more of a tie-in of Mothman to Banshee, with owls being the in-between, being confused for both.
The La Llorona thing creeped me out. I'm quiet.
Here we get some more wholesome cuteness. Wildlife conservationist returns baby burrowing owls to their burrow.
This is basically how you are picking seeds to plant. He's just doing that.
Okay. So we've got baby owls in a bucket, and a guy is pulling one baby owl out to put next to a drainage pipe, and he disappears. What? Just runs into the drainage pipe.
Yeah, that's the point. They're burrowing owls and they need to go in. There's no shelter. Look at this guy. He's
see.
shocked. He thinks he's gonna die. Gasp.
I see. So these aren't necessarily
Run.
irrigation pipes. They're little
No,
burrows
they
made
are. Yeah, it's their new home.
That's neat.
Run.
Just giving him little nudges with his finger.
Just look at them, how scared they are. They can't even breathe. They can't even move.
Oh, that one is shaking so bad.
Oh, Pippi. These are owl seedlings.
They plant themselves. All you have to do is put them on the ground, and they find a hole. That's the most chill of them all.
Wow, I would watch 2 hours of this alone.
Just leave it on repeat for 2 hours.
He was a bit confused.
Where are my brothers and sisters?
Where am I going? I'm not going on an adventure. Oh, yes, I am.
All right. So did you find anything else on owl witches?
Sorry, I forgot.
It's okay. We can move on because we got the connection between owls and witches. Just the fact that owls are seen as witches.
I can do it.
Okay. I'll have a drink while you do that.
Don't mind me asking, but where did you take all my links?
Oh, I deleted them as I was putting them into my own document.
Oh.
So, shall we move on?
Yeah. Now that we have no choice.
So now we're going to move into the more bat-like creatures. So that brings us into things more akin to gargoyles. But we're still going to be exploring this through the lens of Mothman himself. And the cases in Chicago often speak of bat wings. We have...
Have you ever seen clips of those huge Thailand or Vietnam bats?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think Noon told us about them.
Yeah, they can be like 4 feet tall normally.
Yeah.
So we have some witness accounts from 2017. From Chicago, we were watching and observing as the moon began its transit when we heard a loud scream. This sounded like a squeaky truck brakes that squeal when you're pressing hard on them. At first we thought that's what it was. Maybe a bus or a big truck with brakes that needed changing or maintenance. We heard it again. This time, it lasted about 3 seconds. Whereas the previous sound was brief, I looked up to see a large object flying over the docks that stick out in the Burnham Harbor from across the water. This object looked like a large black bat, but had also humanoid features such as pronounced arms and legs. I gotta switch over to my non-TikTok window for people that wanted to read along. So this was August 21st, 2017, another one in August. Different part of Chicago. I was spending the afternoon on a rooftop and I saw something in the sky. Oh, we got video evidence with this one. Fairly high up and fairly far away. It wasn't being buffeted about by the wind. It was moving slowly, but not randomly. Let's see. Oh, okay. It's on somebody's Google Drive, so I guess we won't be looking at that evidence. And then later in October 2017, at first I thought it was a bird, but none I'd ever seen before because it was just so huge and the way it was flapping its wings. The longer I watched, it was like, what the hell is that thing? It was freaky.
Wouldn't it be fun to ask permission for that Google Drive thing and to just attach a message like, bro, I'm in the middle of the podcast, can you help me out?
Yeah. We have one from elsewhere in Illinois. I don't know how close Woodstock is to Chicago. We do have a map, so I'll bring up a map in a minute. This is February 22nd, 2019, so just 2 years later. He said that he thought that it may have been Bigfoot initially, but then noticed that it had a large set of membrane wings attached to the back. So that sounds more bat-like. Extending over the top of its head. He described the shape of the wings as that of a gargoyle. The body was 8 to 9 feet in height and covered in dark fur. The arms and legs were well defined. Oh, and we have an attached picture of a footprint in the snow.
How many toes does it have?
One big one.
That's it?
I can't tell. I can see just 2 kind of impressions. So maybe it's a 2-toed creature. 2-toed Bigfoot.
Yeah, and it has like the heel of a human and the split in the toes like birds.
Yeah.
Prey birds like an owl.
Or even a moth, because they have those split toes.
These don't have toes.
Oh, you're right. They'd have those little legs. All right. All right, so let's get to that map. Oh, no. This is special special access I have to get for this particular article. Just a moment.
Yeah.
If you can entertain our listeners while I log in.
Guys, do you want to join my owl adoption program? So from all those owl beans that you saw in the bucket, you get to adopt one or two. How would you name it? What are some good owl names? I think I would get one and name it Pasta. Like the Italian pasta.
You're gonna eat it?
No, because I'm gonna love it.
All right, I got the special access. Still open into hearing those names, though. We got some sketches of people's eyewitness encounters. Sketches.
This is definitely how people sketch after they are traumatized.
Yeah, sketches of its creepy eyes and its wings, its vague, indeterminable wings.
Didn't they say that he looked powerful, like buff? He looks rather plump, chubby, husky.
Maybe it's fur. Fluffy fur. So here's our map. This is of Chicago. And you can see how closely clustered they are. Multiple encounters. Right along the water, that's another common factor, is these Mothman encounters normally happened near water.
Is it because it lives underwater?
Who knows? Some people think it might even be an interdimensional being.
If it's so close to the water, can we connect it to the mermaids too?
I'd be willing to hear your theory.
I don't have one, but I will contact you when I do.
Okay. Often water is seen as gateways, like interdimensional gateways as well. So that would be another vector. So here's another Chicago sighting, a 7 to 8 foot solid black humanoid with wide membrane wings that resembled those of a huge bat. The wingspan was at least 12 feet. The head was prominent and thinner than a human head. That's different. The back end of the body tapered to a point. No legs were noticed. What? But could have been tucked up under the body. The figure was gliding quickly along the length of the street heading east, then suddenly ascended into the night sky. It sounds like a bird. Never heard any sound. Both witnesses told that they felt a sense of foreboding and were still terrified almost an hour after the encounter. So that does go back to the dread of owls. Just like they emanate dread.
Mm-hmm.
At least large owls.
Don't you think the little owls from the bucket were emanating dread?
They were dreadful.
Good enough.
Dread-filled. We have one that describes it as a flying Batmobile. It was like a semi-trailer. At around noon, I saw the object coming from Route 55 and Cicero. I saw it gliding, and not too fast, no sound. I saw that it was not a drone and the size of a large car. So this is more like a UFO sighting. It climbed higher, turned twice. I can tell you that it glided just like a bird. It went almost straight up, and I lost it in the clouds. So we have that kind of hovering behavior too.
Mm-hmm.
Bizarre encounters with bat-like flying humanoids. This is stuff from Houston, Texas, 1953. In the 1960s in Oklahoma. Some people are encountering what they say would be devil-like creatures. Ooh, this guy has a six-pack stomach. As it stood, it had a six-pack muscular stomach. Its arms was holding something in at the arc now. It was black in its arms, and it looked like it was suckling a nipple. I swear to God, I know what I saw. I ran. I never ran so fast. My mother's little dog, it was a half Dachshund and a half Chihuahua, dusty brown. I picked up that dog so fast I ran into the back porch. At that time, we had a screen on the porch. I remember locking the door as if that was supposed to stop something. This is a crazy encounter. I was not expecting it from word to word.
I got lost at the nipple. What was up with the nipple?
It was suckling like a baby or something, some sort of creature to its chest.
So it had a baby attached to his nipple.
Yeah. A six-pack mama.
Regular guy at the gym says Melantrist. What gym are you going to?
Cryptid gym. We have something that's 6 feet tall wearing a dark cloak. It had some sort of pouch on his back. And it flashed. Oh yes, they see it and they get back in their trunk and they drive off. This large bat-like creature is several feet away from us, but you could make out the red glowing eyes. It passed right in front of our windshield and vanished in the darkness. We rushed to one of our houses and didn't drink that night. Yes, there are way more encounters than I originally thought. And this goes back to 1953 here. And then we've got the creatures from folklore that may be the proto-Mothman encounters. Which brings us to gargoyles. And we did also cover the Zuzu, the demon, who is Mothman-like. So I certainly think that Mothman didn't originate in 1966.
The church in Paris where you can get a really close-up look.
Got an idea.
Yeah.
Gargoyle potion win.
Oh, that is a good one.
Hype in chat.
I love gargoyles.
Do you want to see yourself as a gargoyle?
Yes, please.
Usually they're very high up, but here at the Church of St. Severin, you can get
So, if we have any new listeners there in podcast land, we do potion events on our Twitch channel live, and we transform viewers into different versions of themselves. They are transmogrification, transformation, transmutation potions in art.
Transpiration.
We do them about once a month over on Twitch. They are events upon themselves. And all you have to do is show up and test your luck to see if you get to drink a draught of the potion.
really close-up look. But what are gargoyles, and why are they called that? Well, the term gargoyle comes from gargling, so they actually spout water. The reason this was needed was because if too much water accumulated on the rooftop of a Gothic church, like this one over here, it could easily collapse.
that would be very bad news. So in order to let the water flow, they built these gargoyles, which would spout water from their mouths. And there we go. We have the gargoyle. When you actually see a gargoyle that's...
I do think it was really a cool tie-in to legend where it talked about like the dragon that was slain in the river who breathed fire and his fire could not be quenched, so they had to constantly run water through his head.
Wow. What culture does the story belong to?
French.
Oh. Was it the beast of Garuda?
This predated the Beast of Garuda. This is this dragon. Oh, I forgot the name of the dragon though.
Marvin.
Yeah, I'll have to look that back up. Or check out the last episode.
That is actually a grotesque.
Because I did cover it
things
there.
that used to be on top of Notre Dame were grotesques. But Notre Dame actually has practical gargoyles too. Stay curious, my friends.
Didn't Notre Dame burn down?
Oh, I don't know. But maybe this was filmed before that. But it didn't burn down to the ground. And I think they rebuilt it.
I don't think it's been rebuilt. Especially not to what it used to be.
Oh, it's rebuilt to the point that it's standing.
Okay. We have a new white guy 12340 Mothman. Mothman does whatever a Mothman can. What's
It's like Spider-Man, but Mothman.
Yeah, there we go. I was trying to remember what song that came from. Thank you. Bringing in the wild internet culture. And pleasure to meet you. Glad you could make it here, white guy 12340.
All of your guys' usernames will be yelled at you.
Hope you enjoy your stay in the Grove. We got another gargoyle video here. This looks like
a gargoyle.
The fairy videos that we were watching from Erwin, trying to remember his last name.
The fairy guy that was bringing candy in the forest?
Yeah,
the UFO candy guy.
Yeah, the UFO candies. And he would have goblins and I don't know what else he would call them, but this looks like the same terrain, the same kind of creature. So this has like it almost looks like it's carrying something. It's got a backpack, but I guess it could be wings. Scrubbing back and forth as it moves. Alright, let's listen to it.
There's nothing to it. You just watch him. He's rather confused.
Yeah.
Now, something flashed there. Did you see?
We got a gargoyle butt. Yeah, I see.
No. Before that, there was there you go. There's something. There's Gandalf. Oh no, it's the guy. The candy guy.
Oh yeah, that is his beard. You're right. Good eye.
Yeah.
Erwin, I can't remember his last name.
I can look it up.
Erwin Saunders. I got it. I just remembered. I just needed to see his eyeball to know his last name was Saunders.
Yep. Wismar is reading on your eyeballs.
That's how I read his soul.
Mooning the camera.
Gargoyle moon.
I bet you don't see a gargoyle butt every day.
I bet you don't.
I bet you would like to.
I don't know about that. Maybe some folks would.
If it's anything close to what the Mothman sculpture butt looks like, maybe.
You know, speaking of jiggly gargoyle butts.
I found some really jiggly rocks.
What?
I thought that you have a twerking video, Mothman.
No, this is your jiggly rocks video. I wish I could turn it down, but I can't unshort.
Up in the corner, you have like a volume, other corner.
Oh, it's on or off. Okay, yeah, we don't need to
Yeah,
hear it.
it's off. It doesn't say anything. It just says Jiggly Rocks, and that's it.
Oh, let me recenter this. So you can really see the jiggle.
Wow, you best believe that if I find some Jiggly Rocks, I'll be there slapping them all day long. I do have some peculiar fidget toys in mind.
Or I know what I'll do. I'll just switch back to our normal view. So I don't mess up future TikToks. Wow, I guess that's okay. So he's slapping the rocks and they're jiggling. That's pretty crazy. It's just like rocks and mud. So we get jiggly mud.
I'm all for the jiggly mud. Would you slap the rocks?
Oh yeah, I could spend some time getting lost in the rocks. What is this?
So these people are at a swimming competition.
Oh, okay. And they spot something?
Yep. Why did it play?
There it is. Right there. Sitting...
It's a gargoyle.
Sitting on some kind of... Not a shelf, but just a prominence in a swim pool area. Just very casually sitting on the ledge. Somebody must have climbed up there and turned into a gargoyle.
Yeah. Someone's uncle.
They didn't leave a gargoyle statue there, they just turned into one.
At first, when I saw it, I didn't have my context on what I was gathering content for you, and I thought it was a
chihuahua?
Uh-huh.
Alright, I'm at the Denver International Airport, and this gargoyle just said, "Welcome to the Illuminati headquarters," I mean Denver. Okay, so we've got this gargoyle statue above and behind her. And it's actually moving around. It's like an animated, living gargoyle.
Yeah.
You can see its mouth move.
As to why this is in Denver, it's beyond me. If you look at the tags under the video, there's a Denver Airport gargoyle. Click on that and maybe you'll have more views of it.
Yeah, and this is also the home of Blucifer, the demonic horse. Have you heard about that?
Yeah.
And it killed its creator. After it was completed, it fell on the sculptor and he died.
Hey, I'll give you $100 if you come sit here in my place and let me take your flight out of here.
So it talks too.
His name is Greg.
Hey, excuse me. Can I borrow a phone? Mine's been stuck in airplane mode for about 6,000 years.
Wow.
Can you believe this happened to me as like a first-time traveler learning what to expect from an airport, and I just sit down and this thing starts talking to me after I was like with my flight delayed for an entire day.
And he tells bad jokes.
Wow, maybe we would have become best friends.
Could you set up a Tinder account for me? Sitting here gets pretty lonely. These are killing me. Sitting like this for thousands of years will do that to you.
Okay, nothing but bad jokes. That's all he does. Just tell bad jokes.
You expected something else, like telling cryptid stories?
I had no expectations. I was surprised at everything that happened there. What? Alright, so we've got some guy on the Duomo, or some kind of cathedral. I don't know if it's the Duomo. And he's got, like, the Da Vinci style wings. And now the more that I scrub back and forth, it looks like 3D animation. Yeah. So we got a 3D animation of a gargoyle on top of a cathedral. It was pretty convincing for a few frames.
Yeah, well, if you're not going back and forth for the video, it would have been even more convincing.
One of the joys of TikTok dumpster diving.
No matter how realistic the content that I bring is, you always find a way to go back and forth and to say, this looks off. Because people are not supposed to scroll through the video like this.
Well, this is the services that I offer as host of It Came from the Grove. Not only
debunking services.
Not only do we do the dumpster diving for you, but we help tell you what's the good stuff out of the bad stuff that we have already sifted through. We actually have recent gargoyle encounters. What year is this one I have? 2010. And this is in southern Spain. You guys ready for a recent gargoyle encounter?
Mm-hmm.
So we have this 28-year-old IT technician, Alex Naserk, who's talking to Cryptozoology News. He was in Santa Maria del Aguila, Almeria, when he witnessed the purported being. So here's our quote. I was in South Spain for nearly 1 year. I was always a nature enthusiast, so I traveled a lot. Because of the really hot weather in those regions, people often leave their windows open at night for better air circulation. Nasirk says he was sleeping when he woke up to the sound he wasn't able to immediately identify. It was around 1 a.m. I thought it was someone in trouble. My instincts told me there was a woman who was having terrible trouble, and she might be in a lot of pain. At some point, I was annoyed that I had to witness it. I knew it wasn't an owl. So he's annoyed by somebody getting beat up. Reportedly, Naserk went to the window to investigate, and the noise got louder and clearer. My flat was on the 4th and last floor when I had a nice terrace with a view in front of the block over the parking lot. I looked out the window and over the terrace, but my view from there was restricted only to the far side on the parking lot. The lights were on, so the visibility was good, but in order to see the full area of the car park, I had to get out on the terrace so I can see in front of the block. I was about to go over and into the terrace when I saw something big coming over the building, and in that instant the noise was made again. I literally froze. I wanted to duck, but I was amazed. A strange winged animal, he says, was 25 meters, well, what, 82 feet away from him. Okay, so we're not talking size, we're talking distance. It was like a dog with wings. I couldn't see the front legs, just the rear ones. It didn't have front legs. He says the odd creature took off of the building and began to fly. That's when he claims he could take a better look at it. It was heavy. The way it flapped its wings looked either tired or about to fall to the ground. The legs were hanging. It seemed fatherless. That is a weird description. I looked.
Fatherless, like without a dad.
Yeah,
Did it look like it had daddy issues?
apparently. It looked like skin. I feel like there's this weird translation.
Maybe it's
Here.
featherless.
Ah, there we go. It seemed featherless. So it was a typo. Thanks.
You can't really tell by looking at someone if they have daddy issues.
Some people you can.
Okay.
It had a pale color. It looked pinkish, but at night the lights from the parking lot have a different spectrum. He recalls it didn't seem to hunt or anything, nor was it in any rush. One of the things that also captured the man's attention was its robotic movements. Hey, it's just like this video we have here. Robotic movements. Like it was 3D animated.
Yeah, I want to reconsider your stance on this video.
So maybe he had a real life encounter with the 3D animation. Yeah? That sound feasible? Does that sound fatherless?
Take a step back.
It's always good when we get wisteria. Where was I? Robotic movements. It looked like it was falling down, but a low slap of the wings, it would rise up and forward almost instantly. It looked powerful. It could easily pick up a person. I should get my phone, I thought. It's not worth it. By the time I turn around from the desk, the phone, it's gone. Just watch. Observe. Is it... It's okay. As it got to the left-hand side of the parking lot, it raised up just so as if it can fly over the block again. Nasirk says the animal then disappeared, but was able to describe some additional physical features. So, it had a thick, short beak. It looked like a carnivore's nose. I don't know how carnivores have noses, but I guess it's like a dog nose. The head seemed to be stretched at the back. That was also similar to the other encounter we talked about today from Chicago. Bulky torso or body, also similar to the one from Chicago. Curved wings with arms look alike, span about 2 to 3 meters wide, 9 to 10 feet. Thick, powerful back legs that were held diagonally, almost vertically. Long, thin tail. Ooh, that's a first from today. We got tails. Heavy, slow movement, pale pink color, size of a massive dog or a big feline like tiger or lion. It looked like skin texture, no feathers, no scales. It almost moved like a robot. So maybe was this a Leonardo da Vinci come to life? Leonardo da Vinci invention come to life?
Invention or sculpture?
Invention. You know, Leonardo did actually have robots. He designed, built, and had performances with robots. Have you heard about that?
How did they look like?
The only one I remember was a robotic lion, and the stories tell that it was all made of wood, and it was powered by pulleys and ropes, and it walked into like the king's court where they were having this party. So it walked forward a few feet and then stopped, and if memory serves me right, it opened its mouth, and then all of these flowers came pouring out.
No.
So that's pretty cool stuff. There's some more content that wasn't planned. The Leonardo...
By Da Vinci.
Yeah, the Leonardo robots. Are you guys ready for some flying Bigfoot?
Of course.
Is this what everybody's been waiting for?
Kinda.
Okay, here we go. We've got a sort of over the phone interview where this guy recounts flying Bigfoot.
We went up and we got up on that trail above those deer, or above that elk that we were following. It was me and my brother, the kids, and the dog. And I've put some videos out there on my channel on this. But when we got up above it...
So the videos he's talking about is shadowy. The channel is the Shadows channel, but the links I've clicked have no video attached, so it might be defunct now.
The elk, after we saw it drop in the grass, we were concerned that, something snagged it. So when we were about 50 feet up above where it had gotten snagged after going onto that trail and coming...
And this particular video we're watching is 7 years old, so it might disappear soon as well. Dead internet theory in practice.
Where are all these videos going?
Into the aether, from which they came.
Coming back to the left.
I'm not okay with that answer.
We saw that the grass was folded down, and it looked as if something had grabbed it by the feet and drug it 20 feet into the trees. Because all you can see is grass laid down about 7 feet wide and a path going into the trees.
Alright, so take notice of these particular details. We've got like a 7-foot area of flattened grass.
Something that grabbed it and drug it on its belly. And we had smelled that smell, but when we walked away and went to the right, we didn't smell it no more. But
Okay, and so the smell that he's talking about is the smell that often comes with Bigfoot encounters. They are usually not a good smelling creature. And
what does it smell like?
I don't know. I all I've heard is that it's like bad BO or just like really strong musk.
Like
Very
musk.
Yeah. Very, very offensive musk to the nose. And the strongest, I believe, is the skunk ape. Strongest in smells. I don't know if they're all smell as strongly as skunk ape does, though.
when we got back up to left, we went farther to
But you usually smell Bigfoot before you see him.
the tree line, and we started to smell it again. And there were these 2 trees where the bark was all ripped off the sides of them that were on each side of the path. And one was sort of kitty-cocked from the other. The one on the right was about 2 feet farther back than the one on the left. And I walked in because I saw it was like coagulated blood all over it. It was black, sort of.
All right.
And I thought to myself, the deers are racking here. Why is there blood all over? And I walked in between the trail, and then I got a big whiff of the smell. And I dropped in elevation and back up. As I was...
Oh, and this, I should say, is in Washington State, up in the mountains, which is Bigfoot territory.
Walking, and
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Do you think that a Bigfoot scented candle would do well with weird people?
There are celebrities that sell their BO, so maybe.
And Bigfoot is a celebrity, so he might get onto that.
Yeah. But we have to actually collect the smell. And I have quite a strong sense of smell, so I might have to leave that up
So
to
you can detect it.
from a long distance, as long as I get to keep my distance.
Okay.
At first, but my instinct instantly kicked back on. I said, "Do you realize you just walked down into a dip?" And I turned around, and I looked, and I could see this bowl shape in the path. And to me, it looked like heavy impression marks on the ground. And so I looked up to my left and realized that the berry brambles there in the tree.
So not only is the grass flattened here, but the earth itself is kind of crushed, and it's got this own 7-foot wide dent.
Had all been packed with mud, and that there was a perch above my head. And so I stepped back out and analyzed everything. I said, "Look at this." And my brother and I climbed up on that perch. There was hair all over the place. I should have grabbed a sample, but I was a skeptic then. I didn't believe in Bigfoot. In 1999, you couldn't convince me of nothing that they existed.
Right.
But after seeing that hair, we looked down, we saw this handprint that looked like a bear print, sort of.
Right.
But the knuckle of the thumb came way out to the left, and the finger, it looked like a long finger, longer than the other digits. And it was very, very strange. And my brother
Why
goes,
is this guy making Bigfoot noises? I can't focus.
It helps him recall his story.
I'm trying to get over it, and he's like, Maybe he's actually Bigfoot, and he's listening to this and feeling like, wow, this guy is delusional.
He's reliving his own memories.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it went. Oh.
So this is what I was doing that night, huh?
And we went back down to the cabin. We followed that drainage ditch back down to the bottom of the ravine and then back up the other side to our cabin. And later that night, it was right as it got dark. The sun had gone down, and it was fastly becoming twilight. And
We do have at least one similarity with that protrusion from the back of the head. Excuse me. And oftentimes Bigfoot has been described as like a cone-headed creature.
Oh, can I also say, I seen this article of streamer that does like these long streams that he shaved his head on stream, and he had a dent on his head from the headphones.
Yeah.
And it was really visible and crazy. And maybe the guy that was drawn here, that was described as Bigfoot, maybe he was a gamer once.
Does that make you afraid of wearing headsets?
No, because mine are kind of like, I don't know, rainbowing over my head. They're not flat against my head.
Oh, okay. So if anything, your head shape is going to be squished more than dented.
Exactly.
Okay.
To let the dog out to go to the bathroom, and he stopped at the door and turned around and ran over underneath the table and then up under the bed and started whimpering and was hiding. And my brother locked the door and he said, "Something's out there." And the dog was a pit bull, and he was never.
We have guests in the house.
Oh. Okay, I thought it was from the video.
Afraid of nothing, man. That thing would attack a bear.
Right.
So we were concerned, and we all like grabbed a weapon and sat up sort of in the center of the room, and we started hearing this boom, boom, getting closer and closer. And finally, something rocked its shoulder into the corner,
We should have somebody on that just makes Bigfoot noises, and
no.
we'll interview them.
Oh my gosh. I don't know why I'm so easily triggered today.
Have Bigfoot on and interview him? Have Bigfoot himself?
Uh-huh.
Alright, that's something to think about.
You can think of us just being in the forest and hearing these grunts, and then I start laughing, and he would just run because he doesn't want to get into this whole thing. No one is laughing at him, truly, and he's spooked.
I don't think he'd be spooked by your giggles.
Oh, at some point it will start affecting his self-esteem.
Maybe.
The cabin, and it felt like it almost knocked the whole cabin off the stilts. And it did this 2 or 3 more times. But it got all the kids screaming, and it was hectic. It was.
Oh, we got Bigfoot, and then like another Bigfoot watching Bigfoot in this painting.
Oh wow, no, that is Mothman.
I see. This is the Mothman tie-in. Mothman watching flying Bigfoot, trying to learn his ways.
With noise and everything, and then the whole cabin shook and shifted enough to almost knock me off my feet.
Wow.
And it put its shoulder into the back of the cabin. It was shingle sided all the way around. It put its shoulder into the cabin, and it ran down the back side of the cabin. And it knocked off 3 rows of shingles 11 feet up off the ground.
Dang.
And it didn't come back and mess with us that night. And the next morning, when we finally got the courage to go out and look, we saw all the
Dang, I did that.
the back side of the cabin. And like I said, it was up at about 10 and a half, 11 feet. That this row of shingles, 3 rows, were just ripped off the side of the house. And my brother was convinced it was a Bigfoot, and I was like, no, it had to have been a bear, and he put his arm up there and everything. I was convinced it was a bear, but the boom, 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 as I go back and I look at all the analysis, now that I'm a squatcher and had my 2005
He's saying squatcher. So it's like
Yeah.
a Bigfoot researcher. This turned him into a squatcher. And don't worry, we will get to the flying Bigfoot in a moment here.
He's a squatcher and I'm a squacker.
Okay.
Do you know what's that?
No, I don't.
Researcher of quacks.
Okay.
I
Squacker.
research ducks. No, I research ducks.
Okay.
I'm pretty convinced that was a Bigfoot sighting. I was a little bit convinced that I went to Paul Freeman in 2000 and told him the story.
Right.
And I went to Paul's house. I was introduced to Paul through his daughter, Linda, because she was a friend of my wife's brother.
Yeah.
So I found that connection, and he introduced me to Paul, to her. And I sat with Paul for 2 hours, and we talked about my sighting and his stuff. And he was quite convinced that there's Bigfoot out here in the Walla Blue Mountains.
Right.
And, you know, he sort of convinced me after showing me the evidence he had that he showed me some really cool stuff.
What do you think the dip in the ground was?
Yeah, let's get to the dip in the ground.
What's that?
What do you think that the dip in the ground was with the nest above it?
It was where this creature was jumping off of the perch onto the ground
Okay.
to grab the deer, at which point he would rack their head into those trees and kill them.
So there you go. That is the mystery of flying Bigfoot. He sits and waits in the tree, and then he leaps and grabs deer and then knocks them up against trees and drags them off.
So there I said that's not really flying, it's more like lunging.
Yeah.
You don't fly away with that.
Yeah, he's not even really a glider, but he does leap from the sky.
No, at his size, I bet you wouldn't glide either.
Yeah. But that was a fun story, at least. I hope that wasn't too clickbaity. And apparently, this is like a 42-minute video. Apparently, he also steals dogs.
What did you say it so brightly?
Comparing it to Mothman.
Oh.
And I'll have some links in the description after the show today. I'll drop in the more major links from today's, the articles, the videos, not the TikToks, but the YouTube videos and such that go into more detail if anybody wants to study these particular encounters more in depth. We still have more to go. This isn't the end of the show.
It sounded like it.
I wanted to talk a little bit about Mothman in popular culture. And I think Mothman is a pretty cool design. Just like character concept wise. And I was thinking, you know, why hasn't there been a Mothman superhero comic? And little did I know that there already were several. So let's see some of those. So this is an actual comic book. Let's see if I can get a date off of this cover. It looks pretty old, but I don't see a date. Tales of the West Virginia Hills, the Mothman Cometh. So this is more of a realistic version of Mothman in comic book form.
Body accurate Mothman.
Yep. And then there was, I found out, an actual superhero with the name of Mothman. He was apparently in The Watchmen. And he first appeared in 1986, Watchmen #1. Oh, wow. Watchmen #1. His character design isn't necessarily as cool as I would have guessed he could be. It's kind of lame looking. Why is he picking his nose in this drawing?
I think he's talking in a walkie-talkie.
Oh, okay.
But for me at least, what really breaks the whole superhero vibe is his butterfly belt and other garter belts on his thighs.
Yeah. Maybe they're all like garter belt trophies.
Oh, wow.
From all the wives he's stolen on their wedding day.
Hide your kids, hide your dogs, and now hide your wives.
From the Mothman. And we do have... But, you know, Mothman is a public domain creature character. We could do like a whole new Mothman take if we wanted to.
A whole new world.
And on the thumbnail from today's video, we have a Frank Frazetta Mothman. I think it's pretty cool looking.
Oh boy, he did Mothman.
Yep. He did a Mothman. There's a bunch of comic books. Whoops. Wrong button. Put you in a box for the first time today. Oh dear, I'm messing everything up.
Is it because I started singing?
Yes, it was. But yeah, there was a whole bunch of comics in the 2000s that are based off of Frank Frazetta paintings. So there's like one painting from Frank Frazetta, and then they'll write a whole story that has creatures and characters from the painting put into story form. And one of them is Mothman, who's got several issues of his own.
What are his issues?
1, 2, 3, and 4.
Oh, no. This is not what I was asking.
And I have some more very recent Mothman footage to close out the show with today. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
We've got to make sure all of our lurkers are back to their computer so they can see this footage of Mothman recently taken. Look at that face.
No.
It is a moth with a human face on somebody's
and a
wall.
mustache.
Yeah, and there's somebody saying it's the Undertaker, his face on a moth.
I believe it.
Make this goes kind of loud, so you can see it move. So it's not just a picture.
Whoa, but it's huge.
Zooming in and out. So this is the pattern on the back of a moth that looks like a screaming man's face.
Oh, why is the mouth opening and closing?
It's not. It's open.
I don't know. It goes smaller and then bigger.
Well, this is his back, so it could just be like his back is moving a little bit. Maybe some things are overlapping and the mouth pattern gets smaller. We've even got eyebrows on this pattern. And
this is scary.
An eye socket, like the bags underneath the eyes.
I'm telling you, without the mustache beard, it looks like the nun from that horror movie.
I think this is scarier than a death's head moth. Because it's so realistic in its portrayal of a human face. So, that was the last of the content we had on today's show. Anything you wanted to add in our wrap-up?
Yes, I discovered that there are geckos called gargoyle geckos because their skin looks like they're made out of stone or cement.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
They're super cute.
Did you guys here listening discover anything new from today's show? I had a lot of fun in the researching of it.
I really just discovered that the things that look like they are flying aren't exactly flying, they're hovering. The thing that was the most realistic, which was the gargoyle that you thought it was a scam, which was actually flying, that thing was apparently not real. And then the so-called flying Bigfoot was just the lunging Bigfoot.
Yeah. Lunging Bigfoot.
Yeah.
There might be other flying Bigfoot encounters. I might be able to dredge up with a bit more time in research. And that one that I had included was something I just touched on like right before the show in show prep. So I might be able to find more cool things.
This was super duper fun. Are you already looking to tie in this content with next week's content? Or we just don't know?
We do not know. No idea what's going to happen next week.
But I can assure you guys that it will come from the grove.
That's a good ending. All right, thanks for coming, everybody. Hope to see you next time, and appreciate everybody's conversations. Love seeing it, love being part of it, and we also appreciate our lurkers and listeners as well. One thing you could do for us is click a like button. I never do this. Click a like button, subscribe to the channel here on YouTube, and I don't know what's going to be going on with the podcast and putting it up on iTunes or wherever else. That's going to be the next step now that we've got our first episode wrapped up here. We got a good night, was fun listening, great. And some Russian to us too, thank you. I wish I could read Russian.
Bulgarian.
That's Bulgarian?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know they used Cyrillic.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Cool. We got some Leshy love there in Bulgarian.
Aww.
All right, catch you guys on the next It Came from the Grove.